Om Shanti. Good morning. Good morning to you who are here. Maybe others will join us, but it's good we make a start. So yesterday we thought about the soul, the being, and I think it was very nice the way things unfolded. And could you ask them here? Thank you. No, staying as going. Yeah. The way things, thank you. The way things unfolded, and it became clearer how important it is to separate out all the influences and the conditionings and the expectations and so on that we have, and who I am essentially as a being. And of course this is where things have gone so, what can I say, in a wrong direction, or a direction of suffering. Because, I should check, can you hear me okay? Gentleman at the back? Sort of. Do you want to come closer, or shall... It's okay? All right, I'll try and speak more loudly. And so this is where suffering has come in, because we have not been able to separate between the essence of who we are and all the acquired traits, as Sister Genti used that phrase yesterday. And the more that you are aware of yourself as you really are, the greater the freedom there is. And you're less dependent on others for your sense of self. And that's a big freedom, because how often is it that we look to others for approval, for justification, or we want to prove whatever it is, you understand. And so that freedom of being who you really are and being able to use your inner qualities in a powerful way in the world. And so, yes, we know what we have to do. It's beginning to become clearer. But then I need strength to be able to do that. Yes, I know. And I go into a situation and I know what to do, and then I get affected and, like we say, Om Shanti. Then things go not in the way that I wish. So we need to connect. We need to connect with a source of strength, a source of power. Now, whether you use the term divine power, you use the term God, you use the term higher consciousness, higher power, there's so many phrases that are used. But essentially, if I can connect with a being, with a source that has more power than I have, it's like recharging my battery. And so as human souls, we see how we get affected and we lose our power so easily, actually. Actually, it's almost like we give it away. Why do we do that? That's why we need the strength to connect with a being who never gives away its power. So that most elevated being, the divine being, God, a being that remains a source of strength, but of course a source of love, a source of peace, a source of truth, a source of even beyond joy, of bliss. Thank you. And so there's a being that remains that eternally. So very different and possible. If it's possible to connect, then it's possible to draw on those qualities. And if you're going to connect, you need to know how to connect, right? I can just say, connect. Okay. But okay, first I need to be on the right wavelength. It's like tuning in your radio, if you like. If you can't get quite the right wavelength, you get the wrong station. Well, actually, now everything's digital. I'm remembering childhood where you sat with a dial and tried to tune in. But still, you go one thing out and you can't connect. And so, first to be on the wavelength. And of course, that means being in a state of soul consciousness. That gets me onto the right wavelength to connect. If I'm in my mundane consciousness and then I say, God, help me, well, how can God get through to me? Yes, of course, God does help when we call out with a true heart. But I won't be able to take the strength that I need to stay in the right direction. So first, tuning in, being in soul consciousness, and then taking the consciousness beyond, because that divine power, that divine being, is in a dimension beyond the physical dimension. We use the term beyond as if we're going up somewhere. You're not actually going anywhere. Excuse me. Otherwise, I'm sure Elon Musk or somebody would create a rocket to get there. But no, it's not a place you can go to physically. It's a place that we travel to in our consciousness. And it's a place of total silence and stillness, as we had the meditation last night. To go into that total stillness where there is no interruption, where there is nothing that is interfering with my pure state of consciousness. And in that stillness, we then connect with the source. And the source, like the soul, is a point. Amazing. Point of light. But within that point is a vastness. So it's like you almost enter a portal. You come to that point, and then you find yourself in that vastness or ocean of qualities, and you feel very, very safe. And automatically the soul is being filled with those divine qualities. Once I make the connection, I don't have to think at all. I can be in the pure feeling, but I don't have to think, oh, now let me take love, oh, now let me take peace. No, that power, that divine one knows what the soul needs. And when I connect, whatever I need comes to me. And I think this is very important in our lives. I say this to myself, sometimes you will hear in spiritual teachings about detachment. Be detached from your relationships, be detached from this, be detached from possessions. So detachment is a practice, but I like to put it another way. It's not so much saying, what am I detached from, but rather, what am I sustained by? So am I sustained by the material world and my relationships, or am I sustained by that higher connection? And the difference is that if I'm sustained by that higher connection, then I will be giving to life. I will be giving in my relationships. I will be giving in whatever I am doing. And I will not be taking. The dynamic shifts. When I'm sustained by something and I need something, and of course we have physical needs, that's of course there. But if spiritually, emotionally, I'm being sustained by something external like that in the world, then I will become dependent on it. And so I can't give. I'm taking at that moment. And that's what we've done for so much of our lives, isn't it? But when I'm being sustained by that power, by that being, then the soul is so full that the soul is able to give. And, detachment in a way comes naturally. I remember one of our elder sisters being in a talk, and somebody asked her, Daddy, what would you do if somebody stood up in front of a group of people and accused you of something? Not very pleasant, right? Accuse you, you've done wrong. And I was so struck by her answer. She said, well, if I'd really done something wrong, I'd apologize. And if I hadn't done anything wrong, I'd ignore it. She didn't have her ego mixed in there at all because she wasn't being sustained by that situation. It's just to give you an example. And of course, it's our ego that interferes a lot. Actually, it's a lifelong journey to conquer your ego. Would you agree? And you have to be light. You have to laugh about it. There it goes again. Okay. But let me connect. So let us have a reflection, a meditation. Let us connect. So first, I go inside. And I remember who I am. I, the being of light, in the center of my forehead. The diamond. The beautiful being of light. In my purest state. In my original state of being. I bring all my awareness to that point. And I merge my original state of peace. I am a being of peace. And in this state of soul consciousness, I'm free to take my consciousness beyond this physical dimension. The body may be seated here, but it's as if I'm far, far away. In a place of stillness, in a place of total silence. And in the silence, I sense the presence of a greater being, the source of all life, the source of all that is true and pure. The divine being, God, the point of light. And I, the light, the soul, connect gently, easily with the light of God. And I enter that ocean of peace, that ocean of love, the waves of peace wash over the soul, bringing me comfort. There's no past, no future, just being here. In the ocean. And the waves of love caress the soul, reminding me of my true loving state of being. I experience the healing power of God's love. So much negativity that I carry can be removed by this love. I just need to trust, to let go, and to be. This divine love in this way is transformative. renewing. I gain strength, I gain courage. Courage to act on my inner wisdom, to know, to be. Fill myself with all that I need. In this love, I become whole again. Gradually, I return to the awareness of my body and the room. Filled with so much strength. Om Shanti. Just want to stay there, actually. It's such a simple practice in a way. Simple yet very profound. Because the more that you connect, actually the easier things become in every area of your life. Because we are being true to ourselves and we have a source of strength to draw on. But it's important not just to do this at a time of need, but to deepen the connection, to nurture the relationship, the divine relationship, day by day. And it's as if through that relationship, many have experienced, I've also experienced, at a time of need, you really feel that you know what to do. It becomes very clear. You feel very protected. And you can also extend that canopy, if you like, of protection to others, spreading the light wherever you are. Yesterday we talked about carrying an atmosphere with us. But when we carry a divine atmosphere, it can transform any other atmosphere very quickly. And this is what the world needs right now, is a different atmosphere. At the moment, it's an atmosphere of fear, It's an atmosphere of violence. But more than anything, of fear. Fear is underlying. And the antithesis of fear is love. So it's so important that I continue to draw on that healing power of love. Because there are many layers in the soul, right? We know who we are on one level, and as you meditate, as you go deeper, you see the layers of emotions, the layers of karma. I mean, karma philosophy is a big subject on its own, but it's not to go into right now. But it actually explains many things of what's happening in the world. And so there's a lot of cleansing that needs to happen. And if I can do that for myself, then I can become an inspiration for others. Whether they do that work or not, I can at least give them feelings of comfort and safety. And so every day, nurture the connection. And as you're moving, walking, doing what you have to do, we all have very active lives. You're not going to suddenly say, hold on, I'll go up there. You're in action, right? And that's where you feel that presence, that divine presence with you. You know that it's there. And so at any moment you feel safe. And then when there's time, and traffic control every hour is a beautiful practice, you go beyond to that place of silence and connect and come back. And just connecting for 1 minute in an hour transforms 59 minutes of the rest of the hour. Okay, let us do a final reflection to really spread these vibrations to our world. Actually, but let me just ask you if we can take another 5 minutes. Does anyone have any questions? It's not so much time, but I just have a feeling might be something someone wants to say. Yeah.
So I think we want this, feeling of when you can connect and you have that kind of clarity of mind. Do you think outcomes, major outcomes, such as transition from physical to soul, that point, can be changed if we have messages from the universe and we have clarity on what to do? Do you think that transition point changes, or does it just, I mean, I'm talking about like an extreme situation, or does it just help us to receive that moment of transition, let's say, if it's another family member? Does it, could you have gone wrong because you were not connected regularly? You see what I'm saying?
Right. Well, we're all on a path of progress, or a work in progress, I would say. So you know the connection and you see the impact of it, definitely, in your life. And you will do, many of you do already. And so you know when you are connected, you see the impact on the people around you. And, we don't know, I always feel that you can't measure the impact of elevated vibrations, because this is what we're doing. We're really elevating our consciousness and elevating our vibrations through this connection. And you can't measure the impact of it. And sometimes people say, well, it doesn't stop this, or it doesn't stop the war. We want it to stop the war. Many wars. But I say, what would it be like if that was withdrawn? You know what I mean? How much worse could it be? Maybe it couldn't be any worse, but you don't know the impact. You don't know if it brings comfort to a few people in a desperate situation and they experience something and they feel comforted. So we can't know the impact in a bigger transition sense. But I do know that the more we elevate our consciousness and the more that we collectively are able to do this and the more people are able to do this, then there will be a transition to something better in the world. Definitely. So at the moment you may not see the impact in a bigger sense, but you have to have faith in it. What else is working? Nothing else is working anyway. But you can see the impact immediately on your health, on your family, on the people you connect with, on the work that you do. You see the impact. So why can it not have a wider impact? And yes, there are times when, as we said, our ego comes in the middle. I may make mistakes, and I realize afterwards, that word should. I should have done this, I should have done that. No, don't beat yourself up, because that's a time of learning. When we use this word should, it's like punishing ourselves. No, okay, something didn't go as it should, I'm using that word. Something could have gone better. But what do I learn? And I find this so helpful personally, because we all make mistakes, every day. And it's okay. When I look back on the day, I don't say what went right, what went wrong. The question I ask myself is, what did I learn today? And that's very empowering. And that keeps your state of mind positive to keep connecting, because once you get into a spiral of negative thinking about yourself and judging yourself, you then cut off the connection. So it's really in our hands, and we are on that path of effort. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, all right, let's have our reflection.